We have the market report now coming up. What's in store for us today?
Well, Troy, the use of corn to make motor fuel drops just a bit. Also ahead, the large U.S. soybean crop is a drag on prices. Export demand may be able to hold the floor under the cotton price picture as volatile trading in the cattle sector mandates some price protection for producers. We begin this week, though, in row crops, where traders say the trend is down for soybean prices. Jackson futures broker Nolan Cullen says the monthly USDA numbers over 10 days ago offered no real surprises as far as beans.
We have a very large soybean crop. The trend is down. And a matter of fact, midweek, the initial reaction to these numbers were bearish. I think we will see soybeans test lows, but as mentioned previously, we think we're near bottom. When the levels we're in now, we may go slightly lower, and then we should see some gradual attempt to rally the market into harvest. But in fact, small rallies are made to be sold in the soybeans.
Well, the production of ethanol from corn in the United States is dialing back just a bit. Weekly production this month is averaging 998,000 barrels per day. The Energy Information Administration says that's the lowest numbers in more than a month. Officials say an increase in our nation's inventory of the fuel is the primary reason for production being scaled back. Well, defoliation of cotton is reported to be widespread throughout the Delta now, with harvesting underway on a limited scale in the North Delta. DTN reports, by way of agfacts.com, that incidents of boll rot don't appear to be as detrimental as first expected. Analysts say stronger export demand is helping the cotton market now and holding a floor under prices. Last week's monthly USDA numbers did nothing at release to move cotton in a positive direction. Extension's Brian Williams explains why. Judging by price reaction after the new estimates, cotton market didn't care much for the numbers that came out. Kind of recap it for us, Brian.
Yeah, and initially the cotton markets really didn't like those numbers at all. To kind of run through the numbers real quick, the harvested acres, they bumped them up about 130,000 acres nationally to about 9.66 million acres. National yields, they bumped up about 2 pounds per acre to 802 pounds per acre average. And then production was up 260,000 bales nationally. So with that higher production, that left our ending stocks also higher, about 200,000 bales. So a lot more cotton out there than what they were initially expecting.
Well, what about Mississippi? Was the projected acreage revised upwards here also?
So in Mississippi, the acreage was actually revised down by about 10,000 acres. But yields were revised up by about 26 pounds per acre. So fewer acres and higher yields, that left our production the same.
Have prices come up or shown any life since September 12th and the release of these estimates?
They have, and so it lost quite a bit on the day that the estimates came out. But since then, it's really kind of been a slow, steady climb to kind of bounce back to where we were before the report came out.
Now, what about export projections? I know that's all important to this market.
So exports were left unchanged from a month ago, but they're about 2 million bales more than a year ago. So we're up on the year, but month-to-month change it stayed the same.
Now, world cotton use and supply, is that in line with what the market really wants, or are they really needing a more optimistic outlook in that respect?
Well, I think they'd like a little bit more optimistic outlook to really give some support to the market. Global use really didn't change too much, but what we did see on the global numbers was an increase in production, but that was really scattered across several countries. The U.S. contributed to that, as did several other countries to the increase in global production.
Well, time for today's trivia quiz here on Farm Week. Let's see if you were paying attention to that earlier story on the recent Delta Rice Tasting Luncheon. Bolivar is the top rice-producing county in the state, but how does Bolivar rank nationally as far as rice production? Is it number 5 among all rice-producing counties, or number 16, or number 29, or number 37 nationwide? We'll have that answer coming up for you. Well, some farmers are worried a little bit about the forthcoming merger of Monsanto and German farm chemical maker Bayer and how it may impact seed and chemical prices. The deal has apparently been in the works for some 4 months and will take some time to go through the final approval process. The combined company's seed and North American business will have headquarters in St. Louis. The future of the Monsanto name, though, as well as whether there will be any job cuts or not, is unclear at this point. Analysts say there is little overlap in the two companies' product lines. Well, the cattle markets have been dealing with a 1-2 punch this week. Traders say demand is weak and that wholesale beef prices are somewhat of a drag on the prices actually being paid for cattle. It adds up to a volatile picture, one that analyst Mark Gold says requires some protection for producers just in case.
This market has a tendency to start looking good, and then all of a sudden something happens and it gets whacked again. So I haven't seen any confirmation that this is the bottom that's going to be the one out of the last 10 that actually holds out here. So we want to keep the puts in place, and if we get an opportunity, cattle move $10 or $15 higher, we'll move those puts up to a higher level. But in the meantime, we've got to have some protection.
Well, the USDA is offering some hope for better beef demand in foreign markets once we get into the new year of 2017. The agency says exports of U.S. beef are expected to increase in the new year. Government economists believe a combination of expanding production and declining wholesale prices will set the stage somewhat for more foreign sales. The strong dollar this year has helped to dampen foreign demand for U.S. beef overseas. Well, back to our trivia quiz now as we wrap things up here this week for the markets. It is National Rice Month, and the answer to our rice-related question is C. Bolivar is ranking 29th among all U.S. rice-producing counties.